Hello and welcome to Maski Learning and Maski TV with Teacher Tandy. Grade 11s, I know it might be the first time that we met, but our aim here in Maski Learning is to help you guys go through some questions and ensure that you get ready for your final examination and you feel a little bit easy when you're writing final examination. The focus of today is to want to try and help your teachers, not necessarily replace them, but help them with helping you to practice more concept according to examination and how you need to respond to the examination questions. So today's focus is on trigonometry. So we're going to only focus on trigonometric rules that most of you usually don't go into it. You just look and you say, you run, never go, look back and you say, I'm not going to respond, or I don't understand how I should do it. So today we're going to guide you through how you're going to respond to those kind of questions, given that you will write the examination of these questions as well. Like it or not, the questions are going to be part of your lives until you leave maths in whatever way or form. So that is on paper 2. Please remember that. And you have started it already with your teachers in term 3, since that is the first concept of term 3 work. So at the end of these sessions, I would want you to understand and be able to recognize or recall the rules that you have to use. If you are given a question, you need to be able to identify the particular rule that you have to use. So we'll try and teach you that, and you'll be able to apply them. We literally have just 3 rules, as we said: sine rule, cosine rule, and area rule. Those rules will help you to therefore understand some of the real life situations as well that we deal with. Okay. So as you're getting your pens, your water, your paper for the next 45 minutes together, we need you to understand some concepts. So as you're going around, putting it together, getting what you need, just going to remind you of the formulas that your teachers have already spoken about, and also highlight the important facts that you need to know. So let's start with the sine rule. In the sine rule, for you to deal with any of this rule, remember, you can have a right-angled triangle and you still use the rules. But anyhow, the right-angled triangle, we prefer you use the trigonometric ratios because that's the easier way out. But if then you're not given a right-angled triangle, it's just a normal triangle, then you are forced to use a rule. So that's why we are using a non-right-angled triangle to demonstrate these rules for you. So if you have a triangle ABC, for example, your sine rule will be written in this format, where A represents the sides and sine A represent the sine of a particular angle. So this is just your general formula. But at the end of the day, when you're dealing with calculations, you just have to focus on 2 sides. How do you know which side you need to focus? You have to look at your triangle and see what you are given and what you are not given. So for you to use these rules, you need to understand how it works. So from a triangle, if you have a triangle that has 2 angles and 1 side that are given to you, so you can be able to use a sine rule. So we say is if you are given an angle, and a side, or you are given an angle and an included side and another angle. All right, that's one way. Another part is if you are given 2 sides and a non-included angle, you can also get it. So if you can have a side, and an angle. So they can give you an angle, and a side, an angle, included side, and an angle, or they can give you side, and an angle for you to be able to apply the sine rule. So this is a particular example that we have put down that I want you to do it with me using the formula that we just spoke about. Right? Remember, the formulas are there just for you to refer to, not to write as it is, because it's possible that when you get a triangle, it's not ABC, but is PQR or something else. So you need to just use the formula as your reference. Okay. So here we are given the triangle ABC, and what we are looking for then is to find x. So if you check here, we are asked to find x. So this is the unknown angle they want us to find. Remember we said if you are given the 3 sides, you can be able to find an angle. And also, if you are given an angle and a 2 side, you can be able to find another angle. So this angle that we are given, which is angle 56, it's opposite to our side AB, which is given to be 16. The one that we are looking for, our angle A, it's opposite the side BC, which is given to be 12. So these are the only 2 sides we are going to focus on and their angles. We're not going to focus on the B and the 14th, simply because we are not asked to find B. But if we were asked to find the angle B, we will focus on that. So what do? You write your equation down. So normally we have that equation that we just spoke about here. We can actually flip it up. If you want, you can flip this equation and you start by writing it as sine A divided by A equals sine B divided by B, and also it can be equals to, notice capital letter B, it has to be a small letter B, please remember that. So if it's a side, we use a small letters. If it's an angle, we use capital letters. So that will be sine C divided by a small letter c. So you can flip it up instead of writing it like that and flip it to look like this. It still means the same thing. It does not make any difference. So now because we are looking for an angle, you can decide to use this format or that other format and still flip at the end. So in my space, I'm deciding to use this particular one because I think this will make our life much, much easier than if we use the normal one, which you already know. Right. So our side is side AB. So if I have to use the small letter, that will be my small letter C. So if I were to use the small letter, this is my small letter C, this is my small letter A, and that's my small letter B. So that means I'm going to use side A with its angle and side C with its angle. Or I can just write AB and BC and AC. Anyhow, that is going to work for you. You're allowed to do that. So here, I'm going to write, you choose two sides that are relevant. So in this case, my relevant side I'm going to use, as I said, is the one with an angle A and also the one that with an angle C. So I'm not going to talk about B. So let's do it that way. That means we're going to have sine. What is our angle A? It's X. And our side that is opposite angle A is 12 centimeters. That is going to be equals to sine of our angle C, which is 56 degrees. Remember to write the degrees when you're talking about the angles. Then that is divided by 16 centimeters. So you can do that, and then after that we can then do the cross multiplying. Cross multiplying simple means I need to remove what is there. For example, because we are looking for sine X, for X from sine X, so that means I need to remain with my X one way or another. So for me to remain with that X, I just need to remove everything away from it. So the first thing I will do is I will multiply both sides by 12. So if I multiply this side by 12 and multiply that side by 12, what am I going to have is, on my left side, I will remain with just sine X. And then on my right-hand side, I'm going to have 12 sine 56 divided by 16. That's what I'm going to have. So for me to find the angle X, I need to put the arc sign. One was asking me, how do we then get the arc sign? So if you have your calculator with you, if you go and you click on shift and then you click sign, something will be written in this format as sine of -1, like that, and it opens a bracket. So that is your arc sign. You're going to leave it like that, but the moment you do that, that means on your left hand side you only have X. So X will be equals to arc sign off. So the bracket just means arc sign off. Then you put this 12 sine 56 divided by 16 into your calculator. So let's do it together. We have 12 sine 56. That is all divided by 16. Right. If you did it properly, your answer will therefore be 38.45 degrees. So this is an angle, and that's how we are going it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to show the screen of a calculator because I don't want to be advertising the calculators. I am literally just advertising the work that we are doing. So I'm not going to show the calculator, but this is what you should be getting. If you have used your calculator properly, the angle X will be 38.45 degrees. That is how you're going to do it, and you make sure that you do it right away. 1, make sure that your angle is in degrees, and then do not calculate or round anything before the end. Make sure that you round everything when you have your last answer. That is very important so that you don't make mistakes, provided you have more than one question to deal with. Okay, the second rule we have is cosine rule. So cosine rule is also using a non-right angled triangle like we showed in the sine rule. So this one, what you focus on is if you are given two sides and the included angle, I usually just use my hand to say where my hands are meeting is where the angle that is included should always be. So an included angle, that means I have a side and a side that have an angle in between. So that's what this means. If you have that, you can be able to then find an unknown angle, or you can be able to find an unknown side since you would already have been given an angle. So you have an angle, a side and a side, then you can be able to find another side. So if they give you A, B, then you can be able to find C, for example. So that is what that means. And if you have all three sides, like they give you A, they give you B, so our small a is given, our small b is given, and our small c is given, then they come and ask you either one of this angle to find them. You can also use our cosine rule to do that. And an example that was done to show and indicate that is this one. Where you have to find the missing side, you just have to use your cosine rule. So we can quickly do that so that you guys can see. In using the cosine rule, what you're going to do is you start with the side that you have. So also, every time you have to do the question, you start with your formula, right? So this is c squared minus a squared plus, c squared plus equals, let's write it, c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2 times a times b cos of the angle of this side, which is in this case is C. So that's what you write first, and then you can now go and look at what you have and what you don't have. So here, excuse me, our side is also side C. So we are looking for side C. We have side A and we have side B. We are also looking for, we are given angle A. So side C is what we are looking for, which is X. So we're going to have our X squared equals our A, we said is 20. So we're just going to put 20 squared. And then our B is 14. So that's plus 14 squared minus 2 multiplied by 20 multiplied by 14. Please always make sure that you put it in the bracket so that if there's anything that you make mistakes, you remember that it's a multiplication. And that will be cos of 43 degrees. Right. So in most cases, when you have it this way, I always say, please do not do anything at this stage. Just write your X as a standalone. And then for you to remove the square, this square, you have to put the square root on the other side. And you put everything in there. So we're going to have our 20 as it was with a square plus our 14 squared minus 2 multiplied by 20 multiplied by 14. And what do we have again? Cos 43 degrees. And when you have that, what you do is therefore you just take your calculator and then you put your square root first, then you punch everything as they are. So you have 20 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 multiply by 20. Remember to put your bracket. Multiply by 14 inside a bracket, and now multiply by the cos of 43 degrees. Also, it will allow you to be inside the bracket. You do that, and your answer will therefore be 13,65 degrees. So that is, did I say degrees? No, it's a side, right? Let's go. What is there? Oh, we're not given the unit, so we're just going to write the unit and just say units. So if they did not give you the units, you just say unit. But if they give you the unit, then you say what is the unit. If they say centimeters, then you're going to have centimeters. If you have meters, you're going to use meters, just like that. So that's how you actually calculate your sides in all time. So that's how you do that one. Our third one is the area rule. So area rule as well have a focus. They need to give you two sides and an included angle. Those two must be known for you to be able to find what? For you to be able to find the area. So the area, it's equals to half in this case. As it is, you know, the area of a triangle is half base times height. So it's half, and then your A is literally your base here, and then your B and sine C is what you have. Remember the importance of your side and an included angle. That is your key. So ensure that you always have the sides and the included angle for you to get it right. Okay. So let's see. The example of this one is already have been embedded in the example there. So we are given a triangle with side A, B, C. So you can see our B is 8, our A is 10, and so on. So the area formula is written down, which will be equals to a half. So remember, 0.5 is the same as 1 divided by 2. Multiply by 10, which is our side A, B, C. And also multiply by 8, which is our side AC, a small b, and our angle, therefore, is 50 degrees. If you punch that in the calculator, you're going to have your answer as 30,6 centimeters square. Because we are given the centimeters, we keep that, and because of the area, we have to say it's a square. Because we are saying centimeters times centimeters, which literally gives us a square. Okay, so with that, I believe that you have learned all the rules that you have to revise, and you have mastered them. You have put them somewhere on the corner, jot them down, and ensure that you have all the three formulas that you need to make sure that when we tackle the questions, you already have all what you have. But this does not take away the basic of everything you know in trig. You have to put them down, because in every trigonometric question, be it a graph, be it a 2D shape, or even the rules that we are trying to apply, you will always bounce back to the basic of trigonometric ratio. So I'm going to leave you with this for you to assess, look at it, and make sure that when I come back in a few minutes, you'll be able to have responded to the question, pop the answers on our chat, and ensure that you have asked as many questions as possible so that I can be able to help you. Stay tuned.
Like every time I get ahead, I end up going 2 steps back. So tonight, I'm just gonna let this one ride. You know what I mean?
I'm very sure that you have managed to see something and you have managed to find some. So in all my session, what I say is we don't leave each other behind. So every time we have a question, we need to pause, respond to the question, and try to make sure that everyone is part and is going with us. We're not leaving anyone. So I have a question from Paul, and the question was saying, what happens if I write my answer and I don't put a unit? It's very important that everybody respect their names with their surnames at some point. Because imagine if we have many numbers which don't have surnames, we might have a problem, right? So because we are dealing with degrees, we are dealing with millimeters, centimeters, kilometers, which are not measured equally, we always advise that you put your measurement, which is the units that determines the person's, the numbers thingy. So if you make sure that you write it as 2 and you leave it. So if you are given it as a centimeters and you just write 2, one can assume that is 2 meters, one can assume that is 2 millimeters. So it's very important that we write the units given. And if there's no unit given, we always prefer to write units, because it might be possible that that can be a degree. And if we don't write it like that, then it becomes an issue. So please bear in mind that writing the units is what we have to do, and make sure that you do it. Okay, so I have given you the questions here, which I believe that we can be able to do it together. So with this question, it was taken from your previous question paper, which some of your peers have written on it, and you can be able to look into it, because for you to master this thing, the math itself, you need to practice many, many other questions, so you can see how they ask and how you can respond to the question. So here, if you look, they have given us a pole 8 meters tall. So in my ideal world, I'll think, okay, I've seen a pole somewhere of an electricity which is just standing like that. So that is where I'm relating this, a pole of like 8 meters long or tall. Right, so it held in a vertical position. So they did tell us that is put upright like that, so that vertical position. And they did say to us that it is, it has 2 steel cables which have equal length. So it has 2 steel cables that has equal length. So imagine when you are anywhere, you see a pole like an electricity pole, they put it like this, and always they will have some still very tight, strong cables that are holding it down like that. So this is what is actually happening here. They just give it to us in this format, but that is the exact same pole we are talking about. In the sketch here, PQ is that pole. So they are telling you that actually what we are talking about here is this line. So this is the pole we are talking about, and PS and PR are those lines we are talking about. So we are told as well that the PR line that we are having just going this way, and this other one which is PS, they are actually the cables that are making sure that the pole doesn't fall. Come rain, come wind, it will stay strong. In most cases, not all the time they do fall, but in most cases they stay strong like that. So please just try to relate. And they said the angle of elevation of the top of the pole from the echo point R and S is 60. So they're trying to tell us that when you are doing something, this angle that you get here is literally called the angle of elevation. I always relate these words with normal way of thinking, right? So if I say someone is elevating you, so when they just, you know, they are putting you up, so that is elevation. So that is when you put your cheek up like that, and that is your angle of elevation like that. So it's more like when you're climbing stairs, that is how you look up. You cannot go like this, for example. But there's another angle that they didn't talk about here, which is the depression one. So I always say people who are depressed, they just always look like this. Even when they walk, they do this way. So that is the angle of depression. You look down, it looks like you are depressed. If you look up, it looks like you are elevated, like me, you see, eh? You look up like this, that is elevation. So that is what we are talking about. So before you can even read the question, analyze your information and fill it on the diagram wherever possible, and you can go. But there's one thing that we did not fill, because if I was highlighting them and I said, they said equal length, what is equal? Is PS and PR. So we need to mark them that they are equal so that we don't forget, right? As we are marking them that they are equal, we need to just remember some properties of a triangle. If I have two sides of a triangle, of two triangles that are equal, so you can see they said PR equals PS. And also we see that PQ is common, it's also the same. That simply means that RQ will be equals to QS. Why? Because they're the remaining sides, right? The remaining sides of a triangle, which makes these two triangles congruent, right? So this angle triangle PRQ and triangle PSQ, they are congruent, they are equal, they have equal sides. They might as well have equal angles, which you will see. So to continue and putting the things there, or to label this, we need to just figure it out again. So they are saying it's a pole. Remember, we have a pole sticking down in the horizontal plane. That's how it is. Remember, we have a ground, there's a pole. That ground and the pole, they always make 90 degrees. So you need to label. They won't tell you that. You just have to remember that the pole and the ground, they always make 90 degrees. That is always. So you need to label this angle PQS and angle PQR 90 degrees, because they are 90 degrees since they are on the horizontal plane, on the ground. Okay, I think I've labeled it properly like that. And if you did it that way, I promise you, you would never make a mistake. Now we go start answering the question. Do you have everything you need? Answering the question should be very easy. Determine the length of cable PS. So we are looking at for PS. We already have many information about it. And leave your answer in a simplified set format. First, you have a triangle. So I'm just going to say triangle PQS. That's our triangle, right? We have that triangle, and that triangle have a side and an angle. So we have 60 degrees, and we have a side 8. And that is a right-angled triangle. So for us to do that, we have to go back and use our soccer tour. I believe I still remember it. If not, you guys will have to correct me. So is sine is opposite of hypotenuse, and we have co, which is adjacent over hypotenuse, and 2r, which is opposite over adjacent. I'm very sure I got those ones right. If not, we'll figure it out during the course of a day. So it's sine opposite over hypotenuse, cos adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan opposite over adjacent. So what we're going to do is we stand on our 60, which is the angle of reference. What do we have? We have opposite. What are we looking for? Hypotenuse. So that means we are going to literally use what? Sine. So we're going to have sine 60 equals opposite is 8, and our hypotenuse is PS, right? So just like that. When we get that, remember we are looking for PS. So we need to just try and make sure that PS is removed, it's by itself, then we can be able to get to the answer. Remember, everything, including you, is divided by 1, because if you are not divided by 1, I promise you will sink. So the reason you are not sinking is because there's a division of 1 below your legs that keeps you attack, and you can be able to walk like that, even if you're in the water, right? Remember that. So then we need to remove the PS, but we can't just remove it. We need to multiply both sides by PS. So if I multiply what I did on the right, I must also do it on the left, right? So when I did that, my answer therefore, or my next step will be PS sine 60. Remember, this is PS multiplied by sine 60. So you cannot write it sine 60 PS. Doesn't have a meaning. You can't just write as PS sine 60 as if it's one thing. So we are literally multiplying. So even if you don't multiply, you can put your dot. On our right side, PS and PS will divide and we get 1. That makes us remain with an 8. But remember, we are looking for what? For only PS. So we need to leave PS by itself. For us to do that, we need to have done what? Divide both sides by sine 60. Sine 60 degrees will divide both sides. Right. Then when we have that, our sine 60 will divide with the sine 60 on the left. Then we remain with PS. Then here we have 8 divided by sine 60. I'll always say write your sine 60 triangle, or because it's not really a necessity, run to your calculator and then you make sure that you can get your sine 60. So in the calculator, sine 60 will be 1 divided by the square root of 3 in other calculators, and in other calculators it will give you a root of 3 divided by a root of 3, or 2 root of 3. Let me just do that. It will give you 2 root of 3. So if you are using another calculator, it will give you full, and another calculator will give you something. But if you are using your triangle of 60, which is right-angled triangle with 60 and 30, I believe this is true. So here you would have sine of 60 will be opposite of a hypotenuse, which means it's going to be the square root of 3 divided by 2. But some calculators would have rationalized this and make it different. So you have 2 root 3 over 3. In that how it does in the rationalization. But this is how you're going to get it for that. So if I have to divide this, remember I must flip and multiply. So that's 8 multiplied by 2 divided by the root 3, which gives me 16 divided by root 3. So if I don't want the root 3 to be on the denominator, that is where I can just rationalize it. So if I rationalize, I'm going to multiply both the denominator and the numerator by root 3 divided by root 3, which is literally multiplying by 1. It's really not a necessity, but since they say we must simplify to the end, we might have to just show it. So root 3 divided by root 3, for which this will divide, and I'm left with 16 root 3 divided by 3. So this 16 divided by root 3 or 16 root 3 divided by 3 is similar, but then the one that they want you to have, since they say you must simplify the said, will be this one. There's no need really to go through all the steps that we went through. Remember, we are intervening and explaining to everyone. So these steps is to accommodate every one of us and make sure that we all understand what we have to understand. Okay. I hope you have captured that. Let's check the second one. Hope we have time for it. So the second one, they say determine the distance between R and S. You have already done what you have to do, but they said if RQS, which is the angle Q, is 100 degrees. So come label it. 100 degrees is your RQS. Right. So give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. They've already told you that what you need to do is just to figure out the triangle you are going to deal with. In this case, the fact that they've given you that angle, it means you are going to deal with this triangle only. But before you can do that, you need to find the sides. Luckily, we've already identified that RQ is equals to QS. That will save us more time. So we will use the previous triangle PQS to find our side QS. How are we going to do that? We're going to use the adjacent side and the opposite side. So what can we use for that? It's for tan. So tan is opposite over adjacent. So we're going to have tan of 60 degrees equals to, our opposite is 8 and our adjacent is QS. Remember, with all this, you cannot use what you calculated if you are not so sure about it. The better way is to use what was given. Always remember, the given facts are the best for you to get to the answer, because if you made a mistake on the other one, then you might not be able to get off it. So try and make sure that you use what is given, and that's what we are trying to do here. So looking at for QS, as we did with the other one, we will try and remove the QS. But how do we remove the QS? We must multiply both sides by that QS. So we need to multiply both sides by QS. So let's move this. Multiply both sides by QS. Right. So if you multiply both sides by QS, this QS and that QS will divide and will remain with 1. And on our left-hand side, we'll have QS tan 60. Remember, it's a multiplication. So it's QS multiplied by tan 60 equals 8. Right. We don't want tan 60, but we want QS. So we'll divide both sides by tan 60, like that. And our tan 60 will divide, then we remain with QS. So that means QS will be equals to 8 divided by tan 60. If you go back to our small triangle that we had there, our tan 60 will be, remember, is opposite, so that was root 3. So tan 60 is opposite over adjacent. So that's what you're going to focus on here. So that means our tan 60 is going to be opposite over adjacent. So we're going to have 8 divided by, so tan 60, let's see if we do it. Our opposite over adjacent, that side was the square root of 3 divided by 1. Right? So that's our square root of 3 divided by 1. You can get that from your calculator, and that will give us 8 multiplied by 1 divided by the square root of 3, which gives us 8 divided by the square root of 3 meters. So this is how you're going to do it, and that's how you're going to get our side, which is this side. So that means this side, QS and QR, will be 8 divided by the square root of 3. Even this side is 8 divided by the square root of 3. Now you have two sides and an included angle. So if we have two sides and an included angle, if you recall very well, we say then we can use our cosine rule. So here, to use our cosine rule, we're going to use it with letters. So we have RS squared will be equals to RQ squared plus SQ squared minus 2 multiplied by RQ multiplied by SQ cos 100. Right. So that's what we have. We have our equation like that, and we can then simplify or substitute what we have to. Since we are looking for RS squared, when we substitute, just make sure that you don't make a mistake. Substitute all of them and then use your calculator. So RQ is 8 divided by the square root of 3, but this have to be squared. Also, SQ is 8 divided by the square root of 8. Also, it has to be squared, minus 2. Then we multiply by 8 divided by the root 3. Also multiply by 8 divided by the root 3. Right. Then we multiply that all by cos of 100 degrees. Okay. Then when you have it like this, what you can do to save your time is just put the square root over and then you use your calculator. So you're going to come and say RS is therefore equals to the square root of everything that we have here. So you're going to go and put as it is in your calculator without missing anything. Remember, there's a plus here, and you go and put all your numbers like that. Square them. Remember the minus before 2, and you write your 2. Then you have 8 divided by root 3 and 8 divided by root 3 multiplied by cos of 100 degrees. When you are adding this all and you use the calculator properly, you're literally going to land at 7,08 meters. So that should be your final answer for this question. If you have done it properly, you are able to get it right as you go forward. I know it might sound a lot, but it's just 2 questions and it's literally 10 marks. But it's very important. As you saw, it's related to our questions that we can also use it in real life. I hope you guys have understood this and you can be able to apply it in any case and everywhere. While you're still adapting and getting to it, I just want to give you a few minutes, drink water, and then we can conclude. See you right back.
Like every time I get ahead, I end up going 2 steps back. So tonight, I'm just gonna let this one ride. You know what I mean?
Welcome back, grade 11s, and I hope you're enjoying this lesson, helping most of you, and you are able to see that this is right, just algebra. Can you see? We're doing many numbers and just what we have to do. So I have one question, and the question was to us, how do you then calculate the angle in any case when you are using cosine? So when you are using cosine, for us to calculate the angles, I have shown some of the information here, which I'll just try, go back a little bit, and you can see. So if I was given 3 sides, full 3 sides, that means I wouldn't have an angle 100 in this question, right? So I'll have all the sides, but not the angle. So when that happens, you can manipulate your formula to look like this, where you have the cos C at the beginning and equals to the manipulation of your side. So it will be a squared plus b squared minus the c squared. Then you divide it all by 2ab. So that's how you're going to do it if you are given 3 sides. So this is your key. You need to be given 3 sides, all of them, for you to be able to find the angle. If they did not give you 3 sides, you're not going to be able to find that angle unless you have calculate all the 3 sides for you to get those angles. I'm sure that I have responded to the question, and if not, please don't hesitate to ask us more questions. Always, where I am, I always have some question extra for you to do more. Can you just please take a screenshot and you go apply the rules that we have learned to make sure that you understand, and if not, we have a friend that can help us. So I'm sure that you have mastered and you have taken the screenshot, saw the question, and we can work on that. If that doesn't work for you, or you try and the answers are not coming right, or you're not so sure, you can ask Maski, our AI generated helper for you. It's your personal tutor that you can have in the palm of your hand. The number, if you don't see it on the screen, is 072-091-0388 or 72 0910388. Maski can help you in additional to our textbooks that we have. It can help you to understand the maths more better, and it can also guide you step by step when you have the question. Since it does act like a tutor, it has been trained to ensure that the work that it gives you, it 100% keeps aligned and it follows what it is that you do at school. I'm very sure that you guys are going to come back next week when we continue with our lesson, which is statistics. That should be quick and easy, but we need to show you how you're going to respond to the question and how do you respond to make sure that your examination comes and becomes smooth. At Maski Miller Learning and Maski TV, we always care about your education and we want you to be a different math child. That is why we are here this afternoon and all the evenings of our days to ensure that you get that benefit and also the experience that we did not have. Please stay tuned, join our socials, and also like and subscribe our Maski TV YouTube and catch us all the time because we'll notify you whenever we have something coming to you. From myself, Teacher Thandi, I was very happy to be with you and I hope you did enjoy this. I'll see you next week. Bye.
And now we enter our next exciting chapter with the launch of Maskiverse, an inspiring trio of innovations, our AI-powered learning companion, captivating TV content, and a vibrant playground for interactive learning, and our own dedicated app, all coming together beautifully to deliver learning outcomes through technology.